Tell me if this sounds familiar. You were hired for HR and you did a good job. And now all of a sudden the boss walks into your office and tells you, oh, by the way, we want you to be in charge of safety also. We want you to handle safety. Here's a hat. Wear this one too. If that sounds familiar, I'm here for you. I work with safety managers that are also in HR every day of the week. And I know the challenges, I know the pitfalls, and I know the anxiety that goes with it. In this episode, I want to share with you a 90-day roadmap, a 90-day plan that if you've just been put in charge of safety and your job is actually HR, I want to give you a plan that you can implement over the next 3 months that will make your life a lot smoother and keep you from going nuts. Sound good? Awesome. Let's jump in. Well, hey, friend, my name is David Sawyer. I'm a safety coach. I help busy safety managers and oftentimes HR managers that find themselves in charge of safety. I help you go from feeling overwhelmed to OSHA ready. My goal is simple. I want to help you prevent accidents, avoid an unexpected OSHA audit, and be successful in your new role. And trust me, it happens a lot. People get thrown into safety when they don't want to. And the good news is if you've been put in charge of safety, that promotion, that vote of confidence means that your upper management sees something in you that they don't see in other people. They see a sense of responsibility, a sense of somebody that's trustworthy, somebody that can handle the task. And that's something you should be proud of. I find that safety managers and people that are put in charge of safety, they're often the most responsible, trustworthy people in the plant. So you should own that as a badge of honor. Now, you might be saying, well, David, I feel that way, but I also feel completely overwhelmed and I don't know where to start. That's okay. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a 90-day roadmap and really show you some practical things you can do over the next few weeks that will make your life easier. But before I jump into that, I want to remind you, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe. I know everybody says that, but it makes a big difference. And even more than that, if you know somebody in HR or somebody in safety that could use this kind of support and this kind of guidance, please share this video or your favorite video with them. Share the podcast. You can easily share it with somebody, and it goes a long way into growing the channel so I can help more people and we can kind of get the word out about this type of education. All right. Now, I want to talk about a 90-day roadmap, So it is really easy to get overwhelmed when you're in HR because that's your world. You know HR, and all of a sudden somebody says, oh, by the way, you're doing safety. Now, you're probably familiar. I don't think I've ever met an HR manager that isn't at least familiar with OSHA and safety, but you might feel like, well, I just don't have the training. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the credentials to do this. That's okay. You can do this. You can be extremely successful. The best safety managers don't have the OSHA regulations memorized. They know their people, they know their process, and they know the hazards. That's what makes the biggest difference. So let's start with the very first month. The very first month that you are put in charge of safety, or you're put into that role of, hey, you're the new safety person, the first thing you need to do is simply be a sponge. Learn what is going on. So that first month, you want to make sure that you are actually learning the people, you're learning the programs, and you're learning the plant. So got to love the alliteration, right? People, programs, plant. You don't want to get into safety and go, well, this is the way we did it where I used to work. That's like the kiss of death. Don't do that. You might have done this somewhere else, and it might work here also, but you don't start with that. You start by simply listening to what's going on around you. You have to learn the people, you have to learn the process, and you have to learn the plant. Now, let's start with the people. Maintenance will be your best friend. Maintenance will be your best friend. I can't stress that enough. And the thing is, they don't think they're going to be your best friend. Maintenance folks don't think they're going to be your best friend. They always kind of have that gruff attitude where they're like, blah, 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 blah. I'm maintenance. I know how to do this. I know, I don't need all the regulations. I don't need all the red tape. I don't need all the PR stuff from HR. That's missing the point. What you need is what is in their head, because maintenance knows that plant, that facility, those programs better than anybody. So one of the best things you can do is talk with the maintenance managers and ask them one simple question. Okay? Write this down. Pay attention. This is a big one. If you were me, what's the biggest safety concern I should have? If you were me, what's the biggest safety concern I should have? And then just shut up. Ask that of maintenance, and they will give you gold. Then call in some of the production managers. Ask them the same question. If you were me, what would be your biggest safety concern? Ask maintenance. Ask production, ask the safety committee if you have a safety committee. There's usually somebody in the plant that was involved with safety, and you need to bring them in your office and have that question. Don't act like you know everything. Act like a sponge. Hey, I'm just trying to learn. I'm just asking. Even if you've worked in HR for years and years and years, and you've seen the OSHA logs, you've seen the recordables, you know what the problems are that are popping up, right? Again, blank slate. Ask the question. If you were me, what's the biggest safety concern you would have? If you were me, what's the biggest safety concern you would have? Ask that of maintenance, ask that of production, ask that of safety committee members, and just listen and take some notes. It will go a long way into telling you what's really going on in the plant. Now, the second thing, learn the programs. Every company has written programs. They have written policies. They have written procedures. They have OSHA logs. Don't get bogged down in this. Focus on the most important stuff. When you ask those questions of production and maintenance and they say, I would be concerned about this new machine that we moved into the shipping area because of whatever they tell you. Maybe they're worried about lockout, tagout. Maybe they're worried about machine guarding. Maybe they're worried about PPE. That's when you can kind of dive into some of the programs. Like, what are our top safety programs? And then the third P is going to be the plant. And the best way to learn this is to get out in the plant. So when you are first put in that role of safety, I want to ask the people. I want to look at the programs. And third, I want to be out in the plant. You need to be out in the plant at least once a day. And I mean walking around different areas, walking around different departments, just observing. Look for two key things. And usually this is a mistake people make, is they look just for the work area and they're looking for, there's a loose wire, there's a blocked fire extinguisher, there's a blocked eye wash station. They're just looking for the work area and they miss the people. Focus in on the people. Watch how the people are working. How are they moving? What are they doing? How could they get hurt? Just observe. You can write things down, but honestly, I wouldn't carry a notepad with you or a clipboard with you, at least not in the first few weeks. Because if you get out there on the floor and it's the first time you've been out on the floor in a while and you got a clipboard and you're writing stuff down, you're looking at Eddie over there and then you start writing things down, Eddie's going to be like, whoa, 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 why is HR staring at me? What'd I do wrong? So we don't want to make people, self-conscious. We want to simply observe. We want to talk. We want to ask. That question is gold. Don't miss that. Ask that question. If you were me, what would be your biggest safety concern? If you were me, what would be your biggest safety concern? So that is the first month. The first month is learning. Be a sponge. Soak it in. And then after a few weeks of this, you'll start to get a good picture of where the hazards are and what needs to be focused on. The mistake that so many people make when they're first put in charge of safety, or they're the person that's responsible for safety, is they're like, whew, we got to start swinging for the fences. We got to change everything. When I used to work at this company, we did it this way. And they do all these sweeping changes and nothing sticks because it doesn't fit the culture of the company you're at now. So make sure we're not making changes. We're not doing anything. We are observing, we're learning, we're watching, we're looking. And so at the end of that first month, you should have a pretty good assessment. You should understand these are our top 3 risks. These are the top 3 hazards, the top 3 safety programs. This is where the problems are. You should also have in your mind, hey, these are 3 quick wins we can do, right? We're having people complain about and fill in the blank. Let's say people are complaining because the floor is slippery at the entrance when it rains. You know what? It's pretty easy. We can put down some rugs. We can get in touch with Centos or with another company that handles our laundry and the rugs, and we can make this happen. We need to have first aid kits. That's a quick win. We can figure out how to get some first aid kits. So pay attention to the quick wins, the stuff that's just easy. Hey, this is an easy fix, because we should be able to have that at the end of the first month. We should have our 3 biggest hazards. What are we most concerned with? 3 quick wins. And then this is something not a lot of people think about, but don't forget to look at some of the positive things you're doing. What are some of the things that you guys do well? You know what? We do this really well. Everybody operates the forklift in a very safe manner. Everybody is wearing earplugs when they're in the plant. We don't have a problem with labeling chemicals. So identify what are we doing good, because that needs to be talked about also. All right, so that's the first month. That's the very first month. The second month, we're going to get into it, and this is when we start building things. And so the second month, the key word here is going to be build. We are starting to build a safety program. We've learned, we've soaking it up, we've taken it in, and now we're starting to build. When you start to build, you have to clarify expectations. So focus in on those big hazards, those things that are going to get people hurt, the stuff that people, when we said, if you were me, what would you be most concerned about? We're focused in on that question, and we're going to start saying, okay, who's responsible for that? Who is responsible for that? Is it the shipping manager? Is it the maintenance manager? Is it the crew leader in that department? We need to have a very clear understanding of who is responsible. So when we're talking about building a culture, you have to set the expectations. As an example, you go in and you go, okay, we're going to have chemical labels. Everything's got to be labeled. That crew leader in that department is responsible for making sure every chemical is labeled. Now, they can delegate it down and they can tell people, hey, when you fill up a new squirt bottle, make sure it's labeled. That's good and fine. But who's owning that? The crew leader owns that. The crew leader is responsible. If I walk out there and I find a chemical container that's not labeled, I'm talking to the crew leader. And then that crew leader is going to talk to his crew. Holding people responsible and creating ownership. That's where we're talking about. So expectations, ownership. Expectations, ownership. Don't try to do everything at once. Don't try to focus on every single problem in the plant. Laser focus on the answers to the question when you said, if you were me, what would you be concerned about? That's where our hazards are. Focus in on that. Now, we got expectations. We're building in ownership. We want to have a clear system for how to do it. And I don't want to get too general with this. I try to be very specific. A good system is saying we're going to do an inspection every month or every week or every day. So as an example, when I do forklift operator certification training, I tell every single operator, when you inspect the forklift, you do it every day, every time you get on it. Every time you get on it, you're going to walk around that forklift and you're going to look at it. You're going to do a visual inspection. Is it leaking? Is it damaged? When I get on it, I'm going to be checking to make sure the lights work, the horn works, the seatbelt works, all that kind of stuff. That's just, every time I get on it, I'm doing a visual inspection. Now, how often does it have to be documented? It's got to be documented pre-shift. So if I'm running 3 shifts at this plant, I'm going to be doing it 3 times. Clarify expectations, and then we inspect to make sure they're being met. Clarify expectations, and then inspect to be sure they're being met. Keep it simple. I can't stress this enough. I want simple forms. I want simple systems. If it's not simple, people aren't going to do it or they're not going to stick with it. It's got to be simple. You have to make it easy for people to do the forklift inspection. You have to make it easy for people to do the work area inspection. Make sure everything's accessible. Here's your form. Here's your QR code. Here's your manual. Whatever it is, make it simple. Complicated systems fail. Complicated systems don't work. They fail. You got to make it simple. So build expectations, build in ownership, and then we're going to create a sense of momentum. Here's where we go back. Remember earlier I was talking about quick wins. When that first month, you should identify, here are a few quick wins we can do. I love making things visual for the employees so they see a difference in that first couple months. It needs to be visible. It needs to be something that they notice. One thing that I always encourage new safety managers and HR managers, if you don't have a safety board, get one, right? Makes me think of Toy Story where Woody's talking about a buddy. If you don't have a buddy, get one. It's like, if you don't have a safety board, get one. Safety board is a very clear visual representation of what's going on right now. So it includes any updates. It includes, who's in charge of CPR and first aid. It includes weekly toolbox talks. I don't want to get too bogged down on how to do that. I have a whole separate video on the safety board, so check that out after you watch this one if you want more information. But the safety board is a great way to make something visual so you can show, hey, we're building momentum. Putting down mats and rugs, putting up new signage. Signage is a great way to just get, hey, we got a new banner right at the front of the building that talks about safety. Now, these can't just be platitudes. They can't be those signs that you see that everyone reads and everyone's like, safety's first, but we don't really do that here. Like they can't just be platitudes. They need to be really something that you are focusing on and you're building in. So this step is all about building. Month 2 is about building. Now, at the end of month 2, you should know who is owning certain safety programs, meaning the supervisors, the managers, the crew leaders, maintenance. Remember, you're HR and safety. if you're doing multiple jobs, you can't own everything. You have to make sure that you're able to get other people involved. Now, if you're enjoying this video so far, check out my OSHA audit checklist. If you go to my website, helpwithosha.com, you can access a copy of this checklist, and it will show you exactly what you have to do to prepare your team for an unexpected OSHA audit. So go to my website, helpwithosha.com, access the checklist today. All right, we're moving on. Month number 3. This is the last month of the 90 days. And this one is when you really get in and you start leading. You start leading the charge and you're starting to make a change. So as a quick review, the first month, I'm a sponge. I'm soaking it up. I'm learning. I'm not making a lot of big changes. I'm just kind of soaking it up. Month 2, the focus is ownership and expectations. Ownership and expectations. I expect that every chemical is going to be labeled. The crew leader is in charge of it. I expect the wheels are going to be chalked on the trailer when people are loading and driving forklifts in the trailer. The shipping manager is in charge of it. I expect that everybody that drives a forklift has been certified to drive a forklift, and the shipping manager is in charge of it. So we're making sure we build in that ownership piece of it. Now, when we get to 3, where we're leading, that's when we start to build in the culture, and we make safety part of every day. So you want to start planning out the rest of the year and having a training calendar so that people know this is what's coming next month. And I do this with my clients. I have an annual safety calendar where we map out, hey, this is where we're going to do lockout, tagout training. This is when we're doing PPE training. This is when we're going to do our fire drill. This is when we're going to do, and you're hearing conservation noise survey. This is when we're going to do respirator training. You can map out the year so that you have a plan, and then you're thinking strategically instead of reacting. Again, we want to be proactive, not reactive. So when we ask that question, if you were me, what would you be most worried about? What are you most concerned about? That's framing our expectations and our ownership. Now we're looking ahead to say, where are we going to be at the end of the year? How do we make sure we have a good training program? Our written programs are being updated, and we're inspecting to make sure people are actually doing what they're being trained to do. Everything has an owner. Everyone is in charge of safety. And I don't mean the old cliche, well, if everybody's responsible for it, nobody's responsible for it. If you have 100 employees or 1,000 employees, safety should be on everybody's mind, but inspecting that forklift needs to be on one person. Doing the inspections of a work area need to be on one person. There needs to be an ownership factor that's built in. So the leading part is when you start to bring in your safety committee and your regular meetings and your regular trainings. Don't overcomplicate it. That's the mistake so many people make. They overdo it. You want to make sure that you start out how you can continue. So with you having HR and a lot of other responsibilities, you're not going to be, able to do 50 hours of safety management. It's just not possible. So make sure that you are very strategic so that you have certain days of the month that you're focused in on safety. You're checking in with your safety committee. You're checking in with inspections. You're making sure the trainings are being handled, and you build it out strategically. Now, if this video has resonated with you, if you're like, hey, I'm in HR and I've just got handed the safety, I would highly recommend you attend my brand new OSHA Audit Ready Challenge. This is a program that I'm putting on where over 4 days, for 1 hour a day, I show you exactly what to expect during an OSHA audit. So if OSHA shows up at your plant unexpected, you will know exactly what to do. This prepares you, and it's designed so that people will know this is what I need to have ready. These are the documents I need. This is the framework. This is my team. And you have a plan. New safety managers, people that are new to safety that have never been through an OSHA audit, they don't know what they don't know. And if you don't know what you don't know, you need a guide. You need a coach. You need somebody to help you. Go to my website, helpwithosha.com. You can check out the challenge there. I will let you know when the next one is coming up. So you can actually sign up there, and it will put you kind of in the queue, and I'll let you know when the next one's coming. I do these about once a month, and I've had just tremendous feedback on them. I think it's a really, really valuable tool, especially for people that are new to safety. So having said all that, I hope you found this helpful. Go to my website, access the free OSHA audit checklist, check out the challenge, and until we talk again, do everything you can to keep the people you work with safe, because no one should get hurt at work.